Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I am doing well, very well, thank you.
Good.
Good.
Discussion tomorrow. He's going to see all the details on the data safety and efficacy, and he'll be paying close attention. And I believe.
Hi, Vicky.
She says that it is safe.
Where?
We'll take the vaccine, and I believe we'll follow through with that.
So the Pfizer vaccine obviously is just the first vaccine. Pfizer and Moderna both use a messenger RNA.
Hi, Kate. Tricia, did we check? Are we broadcasting or only
Yep.
recording?
Yeah, it just went. We're gonna let in the applicants now, okay?
Yes, please.
Vaccines and some vaccines will work in populations, and we're already seeing that we have a shortage of the vaccines if we rely on only one manufacturer to make the vaccines. So that's all the more reason why we should continue to investigate a variety of vaccines. I believe that the science from the clinical studies
Hi, Dick.
the vaccine is safe and that efficacious, it works and protects people from getting infected and getting severe illness. I don't think you should be worried.
Am I coming in loud enough, Tricia?
Yes.
I'm more concerned at this point.
Steve, how are you? Peter, hello. Somebody's got a TV playing, perhaps?
Be
You
me.
guys hear that or no?
See if it's me.
Yeah, that's better. I think that was you. Not cooperating.
Is that a clock or is somebody riding a horse?
Yeah, now
I
there's a
thought that was
clock.
piano like thing.
I'm sorry, it's my clock. Do you want me to stop it?
One second, everyone. I'm sorry, my computer was giving me problems. I'm just trying to get the application in front of me, the first one. Hi, Jane.
Hi.
Tricia, was there two different versions of the application or just one? I can't remember. Is this the one that had like an update or?
Yeah, it's just one.
Just one. So on 12/2. Okay. All right, I'm gonna call the December planning board meeting to order. Emily is here, correct? Yes. Everyone, Warren was not able, he had a conflict tonight. Emily is going to be here in case we need any advice. Emily Svensson.
you.
Well, thank you, Emily, for coming. Drew, do we have you here?
Mm-hmm. Drew's here.
I'm here, Michael.
There we go. All right. Why am I not on? Hold on. Let me get me on gallery. That's better. Now I can see everyone. Okay. All right. So first up is the Willow Roots application. As everyone knows, we've been discussing this for a couple of months now about the situation with Willow Roots and also with the people from Carla Terrace who have talked to us about, sent correspondence about it. But now we actually have an application in front of us. And I will turn it over to Willow Roots representatives. We have Nelson and we have Patrick. Patrick is their attorney. And if we can have a description and just tell us what's going on and what you're looking to do, please.
Sure. Let me start. Could you first confirm that I am being heard?
Yes.
Thanks. Hi. So I don't really know that that Willow Roots needs legal representation in this matter, but Nelson asked me to speak on his behalf. You have the application in front of you. I think it's pretty clear, and I know you've been discussing it for a while. I think the most value that I can add at this moment is I do understand that there has been some community pushback. I believe that some residents of Carla Terrace have complained about traffic on Carla Terrace. And I think the argument is very simple for allowing the special use permit to go forward as it's written. I think there's a certain amount of reasonable conveniences and reasonable inconveniences that come along with life inside the hamlet. This is not a property that is way out on a country road. I can tell you the residents of Academy and Smith and Myrtle have to suffer from traffic for school twice a day, 5 days a week. It's part of life in the hamlet. Pine Street, there's a church on Pine Street, and on Sundays there are 12 cars at 10 a.m. and everybody deals with it. Maple Street, I could talk for a lot. I live on Maple Street. There's a big business on Maple Street. I'm sorry, is there a question? Nope. Okay. So the end of my point is, the last one is, I think living in the hamlet, we all put up with a certain amount of live music from the back bar every Friday night until 11 p.m. It's part of life in the hamlet.
Hold up, Patrick. Anyone who's not talking can mute. Jane, maybe. I don't see anyone. If you could mute, I don't know if that's where it's coming from, but someone's feeding back. There we go. Okay, let's try that again, Patrick. Sorry.
Thank you, Mike. So I'm just going to recap that real quickly. There's a life in the hamlet comes with a certain amount of reasonable inconveniences that we all have to put up with. On Academy, Smith, and Myrtle Streets, people have to deal with a lot of school traffic 2 times a day, 5 days a week. Pine Street, there's a church. We have to deal with that on Sunday mornings. It's part of life in the hamlet. The Pines on Maple Street causes a certain amount of reasonable inconveniences for all of us who live on Maple Street. And we all get to hear the live music from the back bar until 11 p.m., whether we want to or not. I'm not hearing about trucks coming out of the property on Carla Terrace. I am not hearing about accidents. I am not hearing about parking problems. I am not hearing about loitering. I'm not hearing about speeding. I'm left with the belief that this applicant's permit should be granted as written. I don't know if Nelson wants to add anything or if there are any particular questions. Again, my goal was to just sort of cut to the chase and address the pushback that came from some residents of the Carla Terrace.
Okay, thank you. If maybe Nelson would want to, let's back up a bit and just let's give a description of what actually goes on at Willow Roots. What kind of traffic, what kind, what you guys do, for especially the people at home who may not, people might not know or whatever. Let's go and start from like we don't know what Willow Roots is, please.
Okay, I guess I have to unmute myself. Let me just plug this in. Okay, can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes,
me?
we can hear you.
Okay, great. So Willow Roots is a 501c3 organization that was created in 2019 in response to what we saw as the mismatch of the amount of food that was being wasted or thrown out, and the need with people that were with food insecurity. And we thought that we could do a better job in diverting those foods from going to a dumpster or landfill and getting them to feed people. So that started, we incorporated in June of 2019, and we started distributions on Saturdays. We started distributing from the front porch and then quickly moved our operations to the garage. So what that entails is people will pull in, and actually it's not just food. We're now offer clothing, dog and cat food, little gifts for people, all free of charge. So people will come in on a Saturday. Our hours have changed. I believe initially it was like 9:30 in the morning to 10:30. Right now, currently it's 11 to 12. Our volunteers will show up about 10 o'clock to help set up. As soon as I got the letter from Drew in September, I notified and asked my volunteers to come in from the North Main entrance instead of Carla Terrace. So 11 o'clock when we start the food distribution, the cars will come in from the North Main Street. We have various stations along the driveway where they will pick up all the different things that we have to offer for the week, fresh fruits and vegetables from the farms and, whatever donations we get. The last stop for them would be in the garage to pick up the dry goods, and then they would exit through our driveway that goes out onto Carla Terrace. Number of cars is not something that I track. I do keep track of how many people we feed, and I can tell you for 2020, we have been given food. We gave food out to 195 households. 557 people were fed. Out of that, 194 are children, 302 adults, and 61 senior citizens.
Nelson, what day of the week are people coming through the property to collect donations?
This is on Saturday.
What are the hours?
The hours are from 11 to 12. And if there's I think twice maybe there was a big storm or something and we moved it to Sunday. Also, we have 2 special distributions a year for Thanksgiving and for Christmas. So those distributions we do earlier at 9:30. Those are more heavily attended.
And the people who are coming to collect food, they're coming in on Main Street, on the Main Street entrance to your property. They're driving through your property and they're exiting onto Carla Terrace and then driving home, correct?
That is correct.
Last question, how many cars roughly are you seeing coming through your property on a Saturday morning between, I think you said 10 and 12?
Yeah, as soon as I got that letter, I tracked it for a few weeks, so that actually that day that I received the letter, that Saturday, and I believe that was the day that photographs were being taken by that resident on Carla Terrace and stopping all the cars as they were leaving. There were 20 vehicles that day. The next week, 13 vehicles. The next week, 14 vehicles. I think that's when after that was 10 vehicles. I think that was the last I tracked it. I will say that we do have more vehicles than that now. I'd say at this point, 20 to 25 vehicles are coming through.
Thank you.
I have a question, Nelson. So the facilities that you're using to store the food, like what parts of your home or accessory structures are you using to store the
Uh,
food? And good things?
The garage stores are dry goods. We have 5 freezers and refrigerator units in the garage for refrigerated and frozen items. The back room of that first floor, what back in 2014 with the other special use was supposed to be the tax office, that is now overflow for clothing and pantry items. We have another side room on that first floor. That's where we store our boxes. And then our basement, we have another 2 freezers and a walk-in cooler and a refrigerator down there, where we keep the food, refrigerated and frozen items there. We also have 2 small refrigerators on the front porch. We may have people come during the week if we have like milk, for example, from the school that has a certain date and needs to be used up. We will let the residents know that they can come in, and that's only coming in from North Main Street. They would come to the front porch, grab the milk or bread, and exit from North Main Street.
Okay, so it's the first floor of just the garage or also part of the house? Where was the tax office located?
On the first floor of what was the carriage house that was improved in 2008 or 9. So if you're looking at the structure from Carla Terrace, you will see 2 doors. The right door is what was the tax office and now is overflow for the pantry. And the left door is to go upstairs for the apartment.
Which is occupied still.
Correct.
Is there any signage
Where?
for Willow Roots? Do you have a sign?
We have a banner, if you want to call it. It's our logo on a gate, maybe 30 feet from North Main Street, on a gate that we have there.
How big is that banner?
4 feet, 3.5 feet by 3.5 feet. I think it's a square, so 3.5 to 4 feet by 3.5 to 4 feet. It just has our logo and the name. There's nothing else on it.
And that gate is across the driveway normally, except when you're.
Correct.
And that blocks off from someone pulling from Main Street to go out the back.
That would, and it keeps our chickens in our yard.
And did you put that there when you did the tax business, or you always had that there? Was that
that gate?
Off the driveway when we discussed the tax bit?
No, not that gate. Maybe 2 years old. Maybe 2 or 3 years old. I don't remember exactly.
And now, what about deliveries of items? How does that work? Like, where do you get the stuff that you give out, and when?
Again, we get deliveries at various days, but they come in through North Main Street. We had one farm that would deliver on Tuesdays. The season is over for them, and they would come in from North Main Street and exit through Carla Terrace. And since this all started, I've asked them to exit also from North Main Street.
Nelson, could you describe how frequent those deliveries are? And do they happen during normal business hours, or are they happening at the middle of the night?
No, nothing happens in the middle of the night. That farm was distributing every Tuesday, anywhere from 11 in the morning to maybe 1 in the afternoon. Deliveries, during the daytime hours, I'll come home from school and there'll be bags on the front porch that somebody left like we had today.
So the only people going out on Carla Terrace are the people who come in on Saturday.
Correct.
Okay.
When was the carriage house built?
That came with the property.
So prior
Both in
to
the 1800s.
I mean, I believe the house was 1927. I don't know if the carriage house was built at the same time.
So
The
safe
same-
to say before, it was when you bought the property, it was there.
Yeah, yes.
It was when? When did you buy?
2003, I bought the property. And I think I sent you a timeline. 2004 was when I got the permit for the driveway that's there now that goes onto Collar Terrace. At that time, it was a gravel driveway that then connected to the driveway on North Main Street.
Do you have a copy of that permit?
I do.
Is it on the application, or is that something you could send to us?
I can send it to you. I got it from the highway department, but I can absolutely send you a copy of it. Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a question for Drew. Oh, there he is. Up there. Drew, so did you see the correspondence from Warren from earlier today?
Yeah, regarding the major home occupation.
Right, and what it seemed to indicate that that's up to you to view it in that manner or not.
Well, I mean, I certainly think it meets the criteria, but it's still going to require planning board approval because that is a special use permit.
Right, and site plan.
Correct.
Did everyone, speaking to the board members now, did everyone look at the statute? I know Warren sent it around. You saw the requirements. I mean, I'm of the opinion it meets that, except actually possibly the sign actually might be too big. Is actually the only thing that seems out of code there. Anyone have any comments or
Well, Warren seemed to suggest that we turn it back to the town board to adjust the zoning law.
Well, that's an option. So did you see the second correspondence from him, Dick?
I'm not sure that I did.
Okay, so he
didn't
after
either.
after I talked to him about it, I emailed back and forth with him, and then he sent a second one. I'm not sure what time it was, where we discussed the home occupation, that it would come under a major home occupation as a second home occupation on the property. He sent it at 12:41 today. Tricia,
Cut out, Michael.
No audio, Michael.
talk to us about the home, no, the home occupation statute and the requirements for that.
I did not see that. That did not come through my email.
Okay, so, all right, so that, I thought that went out to everyone. Emily, can you discuss that? What is required for the major home occupation?
Yeah, so a major home occupation, the code has major and minor. And in the there's actually two places to look, I think. That in the definitions, there's a definition for major home occupation, and then there's the 5 criteria for a major home occupation to get a special permit. Do you want me to just summarize that? Sure. So the definition, major home occupation, it's a non-residential use conducted wholly or partly in a dwelling or accessory structure thereto by the owner of the same, which is clearly incidental to the use of the dwelling for living purposes and does not change the residential character of the dwelling unit or vicinity, or have any exterior evidence of such secondary use other than a sign, and where customers, clients, or sales representatives enter the premises and in which not more than 3 residents are employed. That's major home occupation. And then the 5 criteria, number 1, the lot has to be owner occupied. No more than 30% of the total floor area of the dwelling is used for the home occupation. Accessory structures may be used. one non-illuminated sign not more than 4 square feet shall be permitted, and there shall be no other evidence of the home occupation, such as additional lighting, display, or storage exterior to the dwelling or accessory structure. And the planning board may impose conditions on the hours of operation of the business to protect abutting properties. So if, you know, if the code enforcement officer is okay with that, that use classification for this use, then you could move forward with a special use permit consideration and site plan.
I certainly consider it, you know, that type of use, yes.
Nelson, do you have employees? No, it's just, and Emily, would it volunteers aren't considered employees as far as this is concerned?
There's
correct?
employees.
So, okay. So it seems, in my opinion, it seems to fit the criteria. I mean, we kind of went down there, you know, when Nelson described it, if we look at that, does anyone, now that Drew said that he's willing to consider it as such, does anyone have any comments or questions or problems with that? So I guess that's no.
And Warren did also send along, I think it was in the memo that hopefully everyone received, the minutes from when the tax business was considered and the restrictions on the entrance, not allowing use through Carla Terrace. So that's something to consider as well.
But that was specifically for the tax business, right?
It was.
So how would that affect this, or would it not at all? Or if we approve this application, what happens to that restriction? I mean, it's kind of hard to tell if some people are coming for tax. Nelson, are you still doing the tax business?
I am, and I have kept my word that no clients come in from Carla Terrace having to do with the tax business. And as I stated, that back room is no longer my tax office anyway.
So they go to the main house. Is that right?
If you're considering a new special use permit for a new home occupation, I think it's up to you to put conditions on that use and that special permit.
And then it would be up to the code enforcement officer to use his discretion and judgment whether or not the people are coming there for the tax business or for this one and using, correct?
I mean, if there was a reason to restrict it the last time and that still applies, you know, that's up to the board.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, I don't want to speak for the board, but I mean, what are people thinking about as far as, I mean, it seems to indicate, unless under certain circumstances, that they'll only be using that Carla Terrace to exit when they're distributing the food to the community, which only happens on Saturdays and I guess occasionally due to weather or something like that, or unforeseen circumstances on a Sunday here or there. How many times does that happen on Sunday, Nelson? And do you keep the same hours if that happens on Sunday?
Yes, and I think twice we did it.
In 2 years. Okay.
Well, I would suggest we grant the special permit with the restriction that it be limited to Saturdays and occasionally on Sunday if weather doesn't cooperate on Saturday. Can we do that?
I guess we can write it. Yeah, I guess if necessary, you know.
My 2 cents.
I don't know how you codify that one.
Well, I would think
Snow day.
Peter,
yeah, just a thought. If I were living there and if there are kids, and I guess maybe there's only one family with children on that street, but cul-de-sacs perhaps attract kids playing on bicycles and playing in the street, as I can tell you from my childhood. frankly, if I were a parent, I'd rather have the distributions being on a weekday when the kids are in a normal circumstances, but not now in school. But putting that aside, that's a long-winded way of saying that, I don't know if restrictions are necessary or useful in terms, I mean, it's obviously going to be during regular daylight hours. Morning is nicest to get it out of the way for the neighbors. I mean, we obviously have got some pretty strong pushback from neighbors, to which, I, for one, I'm sympathetic to that, but I'm also sympathetic to the people that Nelson and Lisa and the volunteers are spending gobs of time and effort and all that stuff to help feed in the time when, in the best of times, this town has hungry people, and this is not the best of times. So I'm in favor of, we have to balance the equities in this case. And I think it has to balance in favor of feeding some people who need extra help in that area.
Michael, may I say something?
Sure.
For those, and I think there are several on this board that were on the board in 2014 when I put the application for the special use for the tax business. At that time, I was basically blindsided at the public hearing. That's the first time I knew of any one opposed to the tax business. And at that time, and for fear of not being approved, I was the one that said, "Fine, I won't have clients come in, through Carla Terrace." And I kind of feel like that agreement has been following me. So I'm just we stuck with Saturdays with occasional Sundays, but I don't know what the future brings. Definitely, I understand for some sort of reasonableness, we're getting, 50 cars coming through. Okay, maybe we revisit the situation. But, for whatever reason, maybe if we move it to a Thursday for 1 week, I'm just don't want that to be, oh, no, you said Saturday and, an occasional Sunday. I don't know what the future holds. So I understand you want to balance, but I just want to say that in terms of what happened the last time I was in front of the board.
I would support your concern about that because, Carla Terrace does happen to be a public road. It just because people bought there expecting there wouldn't be any traffic, it's kind of unreasonable in the present circumstances, for them to feel as if somehow they're entitled to more privacy than perhaps you would have on a public road, unusual circumstances. So I would support approving this.
Nelson, when you were talking about what the future holds, but are you saying it just could be one day, a different day during the week kind of thing, or you anticipate it becoming like more than 1 day a week or something like that? You're muted. You're muted.
I keep telling my students to mute after they speak, but I didn't hear the first part of what you said.
Do you view, when you said talk about what the future may hold, do you foresee expanding to more days or just different days?
We absolutely have no plans of expanding to more than 1 day a week. But again, I don't know,
Talking about the flexibility.
Exactly. But we have no plans of, going 2, 3, 4 days a week. No.
Ken, were you trying to say something before? You're still muted. No? Okay. I thought you were saying something. All right. You're still muted.
And whatever you're saying, we can't hear.
Just say 1 day a week and not have it restricted to a certain day.
Yeah, I mean that, and just Emily.
I mean, you also what if somebody is, they have something like a couch to pick up and they don't come on a set. You don't want to, I don't just feel like you don't want to be so restrictive that like somebody could report them because they went to their house on the wrong day of the week. It just seems to be a little bit too restrictive.
And I think the concern is that if somebody's coming on a Thursday, they might not have to go out on Carla Terrace. I mean, just go
Right,
back
right.
with Maine. So that wouldn't be an issue, right?
Right. It's more, I would say, would you agree, Nelson, that it's more when it's a large number of people coming to pick things up, and it's also with the contactless situation we're in right now?
Correct.
We're just gonna have to figure out how to write this. I don't know. Emily,
I-
you have any?
Just suggest, well,
Can
I
you
think-
hear me, Mike?
Oh, now we can hear you, Ken.
Okay.
Sorry.
Listen, you were there and witnessed the operation one day a few months ago, correct?
Correct.
Okay. What was your opinion of what was going on? Sometimes I get this feeling like people are talking about it's uncontrolled. It's people are speeding up and down the driveway of his thing, and maybe he's doing some tax returns in between giving out food. I don't understand where some people are coming from. I think if they have questions, they should show up and look and see what's going on. I think it's a very orderly. People are leaving. It isn't like everybody's leaving 1 second behind each other. There's probably 4 or 5 minutes between cars. And I grant that people at the terrace, aren't expecting cars, and maybe there should be a yield sign there. I don't know. But what was your opinion about what you saw when you were there that one day that I was there?
And I did come back and give my trip report to the board. It was very low level of activity with a good 5 minutes between vehicles leaving.
That's correct.
Leaving through Carla
Correct.
Terrace.
It's not unorganized. It's not disorderly. People are not speeding, and and of course the people on the terrace are not used to cars coming through there, but it isn't like it's they're going through at a great speed, or not being cautious, and people just aren't used to traffic there. But it's very orderly in my opinion. And I think if people have questions, all you got to do is come and watch. I'm sure that'll be okay,
Yeah, I definitely, once you see it, it definitely alleviates your whatever whatever it sounds like. Maybe if you imagined it was more bustling than it was, it is. Nelson, has the patrol car still been coming, or did that stop?
I don't believe I've seen the officer for a couple of weeks now.
Yeah, I think it's actually probably a waste of their time. So but yeah, for a while, Dara, was very nice to have a patrol car come and sit on Carla Terrace, just to alleviate concerns with people speeding, or there was no dangerous situation. All right.
Well, it does have a deterrent effect, obviously. I mean, if it turned out that there were a speeding problem when the cop isn't there, then you would say, well, then it might be a useful thing to have there, because it's not like you catch people, but you just stop people.
Correct.
From doing what?
I witnessed
from speeding, say. I mean, if you have a police car there.
Well, I tell you what, why don't you come there and watch how people, you're at a dead stop.
No, I'm speaking, Ken, I was speaking hypothetically. I don't have the same concern. I haven't sat on Carla Terrace.
I would wish then, instead of being hypothetical, that if you're concerned about that, you should go look and see what's going on.
Ken, I didn't say I was concerned about it. I'm not. Okay. I'm in favor of this. Believe me, I think I can sympathize with the people in the Carla Terrace, but I think, again, we have the balance of needs and rights here. This is a community.
Correct.
And folks need this, and they need it even outside of COVID. The poverty rate in Pine Plains was not insignificant before COVID ever started. And it's a terrible thing, I'm sure. I've never been hungry out of financial necessity, but I can't imagine how that feels. And I don't think it's nice. And I think we ought to do what we can to help people out with dignity in that respect. And as far as I can tell, Nelson and Lisa and the team are doing that.
Okay, I just maybe the word hypothetical.
Yeah,
was
no,
not-
I meant it
was
as, I'm sorry if I was unclear, which I'm capable of being. And one other thing I know, just for the record, it's not that anybody's arguing about this, but by all appearances, there are two legal driveways, the North Main driveway and the Carla Terrace driveway. And there's nothing illegal, in theory at least, about the fact of a car going in one and out the other. It seems to me there's nothing in the restriction of the driveway that said only the resident of the accessory building can use it. I raised this question before, why can't people just back onto North Main again? Well, and it was pointed out at the time, people are coming through in a line. And if you wanted to take all day, fine, make people back out before they can come in. But if you want to get it done reasonably efficiently, do it the way it's being done now.
Well, you talk about a safe manner.
Yeah.
Well, I also think we did not really, like Nelson said, when we're at that meeting, everyone was kind of blindsided. We didn't do our due diligence and go, if you had gone to see, you would have said, no one's going to use this as a throughway. Like, no one would drive in between Nelson's house and his garage to exit out the back.
There's no room.
There's no, we all assumed that it would become a through road. Like that kids would be taking it to take a shortcut. Like that would not, if you looked at the property, that would not happen. So.
And there's a fence.
Shouldn't have said that in the first place, as Nelson kind of mentioned earlier.
Right, he offered it just to
Right.
assuage her worries. And he's got a gate there that's there when they're not doing this. So I guess, oh, and also just back to that driveway issue, as far as, I'm pretty sure Warren answered this question last week. Emily can confirm this. As far as driveway permits, all the town has purview over is where the curb cut is. What you do with your driveway once past the curb cut is up to you. Is that correct, Emily?
I mean, I think that's right, but if you're issuing a special permit, you can
Right,
limitations on it.
but as a residential resident, like once you just get a driveway permit, you can put the driveway once it comes off your property. It goes, I mean, once it comes off the road onto your property, go wherever you want it.
Yeah.
So there's no legal restriction to that. You can connect two driveways. The only time, like Emily said, because of the special use permit, the only time now we have a say, I guess, about it. All right. So as far as procedure, we need a public hearing, correct?
Yep.
And I would suggest not waiving it. We definitely want, to give the residents of Carla Terrace and anyone else that wants to comment on this, leave to do so. So I would like a motion to have a public hearing for next month. Tricia, what's the date? I'm sorry.
The 13th, January 13th.
January 13th at 7:30.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, let it be shown that the motion passed unanimously. So we'll have that public hearing.
Do you also need a 239M review on this? I was just looking, is it a county road? Does that?
It is. It is. It's on 83A.
Is it 83A or 82A?
80.
Or 82.
Two.
What?
Well, but that's North Main, isn't it?
Right, North Main is a county road.
Yeah. And somebody says 239M and nobody else knows what that means. Emily.
I'll have to look. Maybe we can check with Warren, but I was thinking that a county road triggered 239M, but I'm not certain.
It's county, state, or
That's when
waterway.
Is that all it is?
I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure
but the county would be, yeah.
Now they did send some direction like a year and a half ago about reducing how many of those,
Yeah, they don't
the
all of them.
scale of them, that especially now with the COVID. So my guess they would say is of local concern. But we might, well,
They
I'll
did,
I'll check with Warren and see what he wants,
the application for the tax business was sent to the county, according to the records that we got. And they said it was a matter of local concern.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the law. I mean, special use permits are one of the categories, and it says if it's on a county road. So I just don't want to hold it up if you don't do it tonight, if you're gonna have to do it next month, it's gonna take that much longer. So do you want to just?
Well,
vote
what do
to
we have to
adjourn?
do?
If we don't have to, we won't bother.
Do we have to vote on that? Or we say we're gonna send the letter.
Oh,
That's
I
all.
don't know what your practice is.
Yeah, I think we just we'll have Tricia send
Okay, all
the
right.
application to them. Now, Warren said something, the application needs to be adjusted to reflect that it's a home occupation. Is that right, Drew?
Yeah, on the application, it should state that's what they're applying for. It's kind of general right now. They're applying for a special use permit, but as a subcategory to that, it should be a special use permit for a major home occupation.
Okay, so we're just gonna have to edit that and then submit it back to us, and then we'll send it down to the county.
Mike, you're asking us to do that, or are you?
Yes, you need to amend your application and resubmit.
Thank you. We will do that. Could somebody forward me if you can, the correspondence from Warren regarding the MHO process, or
the
I think it's
MHO?
privileged, isn't it?
Yeah, that was an attorney-client.
Yeah, that was attorney-client.
But the.
Okay, I can look it up. I can research it.
I can send you the sections of code if you want. I mean,
Right.
Thank you.
We'll send you the same.
Thank you.
Probably, it's not privileged anymore.
What was I gonna say? Oh, what about a site plan? He has to submit a site plan because I mean, can that just be hand drawn, or does he? I mean,
There are no changes in the site, are there?
well, just with the home occupation, I thought they have to have a site plan to indicate where he's actually doing this, and what, if you notice, there's a 30%, or I guess, does the 30% count for, because it's in the accessory structure, Emily?
I think it's, I'll have to look at the definition again.
I wasn't totally sure when I read it, if
It
well,
says more than 30% of the dwelling unit.
or and then it mentions it can be in an accessory structure. So
And
yeah,
there's another item that says accessory structures may be used.
yeah, okay.
But I think you're right. I mean, even if it's a simple site plan, that just marks where things are happening, and that would be helpful.
Okay, so that's the two things. You need to amend the application so it indicates you're applying for a home application, home occupation, and include a site plan indicating where this is all going on.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I think that's it for this. Does anyone else have anything more to add? Sarah, did you want to say anything from the town board's perspective, or are you good?
You're muted, Sarah.
Sarah.
There I am. No, I remember what occurred at the planning board previously, and what Nelson says about his just volunteering that as a way of dealing with what was going on. It is important that they be able to do it on a variety of days, because you have those holiday distributions, which are not on a weekend. So I'm totally in favor of having it go forward.
And I assume that in the interim, Nelson can operate as they've been operating on the weekends.
Well, yes, we're gonna go with, because of COVID, we're going to, let that go on at this point.
Sure.
You know, and all right. Well, that's it with this. Thank you very much for coming, Nelson and Patrick, and we'll be seeing you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next up is is it Koch or Coke, Wesley?
You're muted, Wes. Yeah.
There we go. There we go. I'll figure this technology out eventually. Cook, he pronounces it Cook, but it's definitely spelled like that as well. So I have made that mistake as well, which she doesn't take kindly to. Hopefully everybody's doing well tonight. I am going to try to share my screen to kind of go over what's going on, if you don't mind. Just bear with me 1 second. So I'm going to take us to the parcel access here. So Doug and Christine, who is his ex-wife, own this parcel right here, which is 572191, which is 65 acres, 65.82 acres. It's a vacant piece of land that was subdivided a few years ago. So lot 1 would be to the north, lot 2 would be to the south, and him and his ex-wife own that. Currently, Doug lives in a house right here, and this parcel is owned by an LLC, which is Bethel Cross Estates Company LLC. So Doug accesses his property, comes all the way up, and then if we zoom in, you see his house right here. So generally, to get the divorce proceeding through, a sale of these lots needs to happen eventually. So as you can see, the house is well within the zoning limits, but it's very close to the line right here. So what we're proposing and what Doug's hoping to do is to add a 5-acre parcel that is similar to what I'm kind of showing right there. With that said, let me go back for a second to my file maps. So this is Doug's. Here is the road, and Doug's house is not shown on this, hasn't been built yet. So this was back in '96, an approved lot. So that's the existing 81 acres.
Wesley,
We can't see.
Wesley, we do not have the map. We're still looking at parcel access.
Okay, hold on. Your screen sharing is paused. Let's try this again. Screen sharing. The map. Yes?
Yes, that's good.
Now you see it. Okay, so so this is the lot that Doug's house is on. Driveway comes up, wraps around. The house is right here. This would be approximately where the 5 acres would be. With the map that I did not survey Doug's property. So that's a huge cost for me to survey 81 acres to add 5 acres in the middle. So what I did was I took the old filed map that was done a couple years ago, approved by you, the planning board, and I have shown Doug's parcel in the area map, and then Doug and Christine's parcel here, along with where the parcel A is. Used land hooks to show that it'll be added from parcel 2 to Bethel Cross Estates, shown that the area changes will happen, shown how the area changes will happen. Put certain notes on the map. Parcel A will become part and parcel of the other one by legal instrument, of which I have the deeds prepared to be reviewed of a consolidation deed. With that said, it's pretty simple. We have two pre-existing conforming lots, and one's getting a little bit bigger, one's getting a little bit smaller, and it's only for visual protection and because the house is that close. So if anybody has at this point any questions, I would be more than happy to answer them.
I do.
Certainly.
I still, even from what you just said, it was hard to see So Doug is still going to occupy that house and the land is going to be part of the land of Bethel Cross Estates as opposed to the other lot?
So Doug's house is on Bethel Cross Estates right now. And Doug and Christine, his ex-wife, own the vacant lot. So the part of the vacant lot, which is parcel A, which is the 5 acres, will be land hooked and get added to the LLC, which is Doug's house.
I got it. Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And there's no septics or any of those sort of thing involved in any of this, or?
No,
If
everything's
anything
only getting better. I got a little feedback, I'm sorry. Anything that was close to the line is definitely getting better, and there's nothing on that 5 acre vacant piece. And again, with the topography, if you look at it, kind of drops off there. He's just ensuring that anybody that buys that, it'll now be a 60 acre piece, will not shove a house right in that corner where they'll be looking up at him or he'll be looking down at them. So it's really for visual protection.
Does anyone else have any comments or questions? Yeah, I
Do we
see.
have to go look at this at all?
What's that?
Do we have to go visually see this site, or are we fine doing it the way we are?
No, I don't feel I would need to go look at it. I mean, it's
Okay.
a huge piece of property, right? Like, no, there's nothing really near him. It's not like it's going to affect anyone. Those are all empty parcels. Those other 2 parcels, correct?
Okay.
Near him.
Well, the one piece, which is the LLC, does have Doug's house on it. If you want, Ken, I can pull it up on Google Earth and kind of show you quickly if that helps, or zoom in on Parcel Access if you want to see it quick.
There's no additional road going in there at all, or?
It's a driveway that goes loops all around.
Okay.
Yeah, no change at all to any of the ground or any building or anything. It's gonna, stay wild forever. Originally, Doug had thought that maybe he would put a building easement on it, but then decided that it's probably better, instead of having just an easement on it, to actually own that little section of property.
Okay. So nothing's changing.
Nothing's changing.
It's just the boundary is moving, and that'll be it.
One's getting 5 acres bigger and one's getting 5 acres smaller.
Okay.
And I will say that, it's in the middle. It's pretty far from any road. I'd say within over 1,000 feet, and probably within almost 2,000 feet of any neighbor. So I would ask the board to consider waiving the public hearing in that sense, only because nobody's really affected. Nobody can even see that section. So if you would consider that as a board, both Doug and I would greatly appreciate it.
I would certainly support that, knowing the whole property.
Yeah, I mean, this seems pretty straightforward, just a piece moving over. Obviously, Warren would want to see a proposed merger deed, and he would have to approve that as a condition of us approving it. But beyond that, there's nothing beyond fees and that sort of thing. All right, so can I have a motion to waive the public hearing for this application?
I'll make that motion if you want.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? Let it be shown that the motion passed unanimously. I mean, is there a time constraint on this, or if we get this written up for next month, you get the merger deed and we get it done next month, Wesley?
I have the merger deed completed and the map completed. So as soon as Warren would be able to review it and say everything's okay, I would hope that the board could consider just making that a condition. And once that happens, and I provide you with the 6 or 8 copies of the map, then the board would give you the authorization to sign and approve with Warren's approval on the merger deed.
This is a lot line adjustment is a type 2 action, so we wouldn't need to do any further environmental review either.
Um,
Done in the past like that. Warren would he would get the deed and approve it, and then just say, send Michael an email saying you can sign off on Wesley's maps, and he can bring them down to file them.
right. I just know he doesn't usually like us doing verbal, resolutions.
Yeah, he suggested that you generally approve it subject to doing a written resolution the next time, if that's the way you want to go.
Okay. I mean, what is that? I mean, does that do anything for the applicant? He can just proceed with.
No, I mean, I guess you'd actually vote next time, but if you had the merger deed all set and everything in advance, then you'd be set next month. You wouldn't have to do anything further after that.
All right. Well, I guess get that merger deed emailed to us and we'll get it to Warren. Is there a time constraint, Wesley, to get it done before January?
I mean, I believe that they do have the 60 acres, a deal pending on that they want to close by the 1st of the year for tax purposes. So if I can make that happen, then that's great.
We'll have to have a special meeting.
What's that?
We'll have to have a special meeting to approve it.
I also find it a little hard to believe that we have to have written resolutions now for every single thing when I've been before the board for the last 20 years, and this is new to me that the ways have changed. I understand if it's a contentious application where there's neighbors that are involved and whatnot, but I would think that there's a very low risk of anybody ever coming and saying anything to the board. I just feel like in the same sense, and this is my personal opinion, that it's best to use our common sense more than bureaucracy sometimes, to throw that in there. And maybe I'm overstepping my bounds saying that, but I also feel like it needs to be said sometimes.
No, and really, Warren should have been here tonight, and he had another client that was more important than our planning board.
Well, we have
need to-
we have Emily, but we still didn't have a. I mean, this is the first time we saw this application. It's not like
Warren's memo to us says go ahead and approve it.
Yep.
Well,
Wait
it's
the public hearing and grant the
subject to the issuance of a formal resolution
yeah.
for the next meeting.
Have we ever done a formal resolution on a lot line change?
I've never seen
done that.
Yes, I mean he's been doing them each time. I mean, any way we do, we'd have to come back and vote real quick.
What's the resolution to say? We hereby approve the lot line
verbal now. If you guys want to do a verbal, I'll do a verbal, and we'll just.
We're gonna have a special meeting on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, what's today, right? Because it'd have to be 10 days, right? What is today? Today's it'd be like it'd be like Christmas Eve.
I mean, if you don't feel comfortable, you don't feel comfortable. I'm not trying to push anybody to do anything that you don't feel comfortable with.
Does anyone have a problem with doing a verbal?
No, not at all.
No.
Okay. All right. So can I have a motion to approve this application pending all fees and any escrow charges that occur to be paid, and also the merger deed being submitted, a proposed merger deed being submitted and approved by the town attorney?
I'll make that motion.
Have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let it be shown that that motion passed, the resolution passed unanimously. Okay, Wesley, thank you. And just
Thank
get
you,
that in.
everybody. Happy
We'll get it.
holidays.
You too.
Done as soon as we can.
Take care, Wes.
Take care. Tricia, what's next on the? I think I
Do
closed
I
my.
do the Dale Mitchell? Well, it's the minutes approval, but I don't know if you want to go over the Dale Mitchell stuff.
Let's do Dale, and then this way we can let Emily go after that. Emily, we have this somewhat a little of an addition to the agenda that was discussed. Some of it we really need Warren for because he's purview to these discussions with the town board. I get. So do you remember we first of all approved this lot line adjustment a couple of months ago? And then part of it was the maintenance agreement for the road. And I guess, I don't know, they're arguing, the town and Dale have been going back and forth over the road. It's in disrepair, and then somebody repaired it. It's not good enough. I don't know. Drew, do you know what's going on with that situation?
I do not.
You don't know. Sarah, maybe you have some input?
He wanted to give the easement, the trail. He didn't want to make it an easement. He wanted to give that land to the town. The town board was not interested in that because it would have made at least one additional lot, perhaps two additional lots. That wasn't something that we were interested in doing.
Wait, Sarah, you're talking about the road right now, correct?
No, I was talking about the trail easement.
Or there's two issues.
I know, and then there's the road issue.
Oh.
And the road issue, there was a complaint about, he wanted a gate moved to a place where the town is not going to move the gate because it's a steep slope. The gate is down lower, and he wanted that moved, and we're not interested in doing that either. The maintenance issues, apparently the road was never turned over to the town because it was never in a condition to be turned over to the town. So the town never accepted the road. So I believe that then becomes his responsibility to maintain the road. That's where I think we're at.
And we had a maintenance agreement that we went over and Warren approved for this lot line adjustment. They worked it out between the two attorneys. And then he said, okay, go ahead and sign the maps. And I signed the maps. And then all of a sudden now, is he just not living up to the maintenance agreement, or is it in contention?
That I don't know. That I don't know about.
We don't know. All right. So I don't know exactly what's going on with that part of it. I have to talk to Warren and figure out what's up with that. But additionally, what he has proposed, there's been a proposal for Dale to give a trail, a piece of land to, well, is it to the town or to Fossil?
Well, it could be either one, but it's not something that we're interested in having happen. The town board is not interested in that.
You're not interested in, but
we're interested in an easement, and he can give an easement, but we don't want to own that property because it changes the lots. It makes an additional lot.
So because
that goes right through it goes right through the property.
Right.
You would have an additional, that would become a lot, and then there would be a lot on either side of it.
It would actually make 3 lots.
That's not something that's not something the town board is interested in participating in.
Is Fossil part of the town, or is that a private organization?
No, Fossil is a private organization.
So he could give it to Fossil.
If Fossil wants to take it, but then it would require an additional subdivision.
Yes. Tricia, can you put up the map just so everyone can see what we're talking about here? It's hand drawn, so obviously it's gonna be a little hard to see. Oh, yeah, that's good like that. Yeah, this is so if you see at the bottom here, there's a hand drawn trail that I guess is for a possible future trail that would enter his property, like on 83. Go across and then go along that property line and then up to like the middle there and then split in two. And if they were to do that, like this trail has to be its own piece of property, and then thereby would split that lot into three pieces. And and I don't, and if you remember, there's wetlands there to the west. That's why I guess it moves to the middle of the field there. And that is, well, I mean, two of the pieces are pretty big, but that other one is not very big, and not very useful. So I don't know. I don't know what Fossil's thinking about this. So if the town is not looking to have it, and he won't do an easement, is that right, Sarah?
We don't know if he'll do an easement or not. This was what was proposed to us, and this is basically what we rejected.
I mean, an easement sounds better in my opinion, but
An easement is what makes sense for trail work, I think. An easement is the way that it's usually done.
did they talk about how big that piece is? No one, I mean, I can't tell from this map, like how big that smallest parcel would it be?
I don't know. I don't know.
All right. Well, I wanted the board to know about it because I mean, it might come before us. And I guess Fossil kind of wanted to hear, just have a general opinion from the board, what they thought of such a plan, if it were to come to pass. I don't know if anyone has any comments or questions.
Well, it just sounds like we need more information.
It's very much a preliminary, like, sketch.
Right. So there's no sense speculating on it until we know what it is.
But I mean, if they were to come with this map to us, would we do a subdivision like this?
I wouldn't.
I mean,
Well, I can't imagine him subdividing it without knowing that somebody's going to want the property. The town has said they don't want the property. So, and it seems like sort of a crude word, subdivision, in a normal world, that you would make a subdivision that consists of a trail between two lots.
Well, it has to be, well, if it's not done by an easement, it has to be, like, you can't land hook over a parcel. So that's.
No, I understand that. And I guess, I mean, it's not ours to ask why
Right.
Dale's thinking is this way, but I can't imagine why he cares unless, it seems to me it is worse for him in the long run in terms of what could happen to the property that would be left behind for him to subdivide it and sell/give that road to the town, assuming the town would accept it, which of course it will not do. So it's weird.
Well, but Fossil, that's the
Fossil, yeah.
All right. Yeah, I mean, in my mind, an easement would be preferable. It seems somewhat problematic to create these kind of crazy parcels there, especially with the topography of that land and the wetlands and everything else. So you would say generally the board is quite skeptical of this, is what I'm gathering.
Well, we don't have enough information to make any type of, choice. How can we make a choice on, we don't know anything yet?
I think, all right. I think Fossil was just looking for like, to see what we thought, kind of thing, float it up there. And
Well, then Fossil should probably come to the board.
all right. That's a fair point. But again, right now also Dale, I think, is not well. I don't think anyone has been in contact with them. Neither. Anyway, I figured I'd just show you. It was a lot easier to show you this way than to start emailing back and forth and try to explain.
Sure.
Just to throw out there, do you normally create parcels that aren't buildable? I mean, wouldn't you, if you were subdividing, the parcels you create would be buildable lots?
Well, they
should be.
They should be. There's a question whether, like, this parcel over here, the lower parcel, that would possibly, you could build like right over here near Stewart's. And then it's just tacked onto there, kind of thing, but I don't know.
And can you point with the arrow at
Yeah.
where there's a
helpful.
lot?
Well, isn't there over here to the, I can't, it's not my screen
Okay.
share. Tricia, if you point over where Stewart's is, go to the left, now down, remember, that's where like the little barns are, go down. Yeah,
Yeah.
so that, if they create this parcel here and tack it onto there, technically, I guess it's a buildable lot, but I find it much preferable if there was they could get an easement done. I mean, a trail system would be nice, but you can't just like shoehorn it in.
Could it just be like park then? Like not,
Like if he gave more of the lot over, I don't know.
Well, there's a rail
like town park or
bed, but
something?
he didn't want to give the rail bed as for the trail. For whatever reason, that ideally you would use the rail bed for the trail easement, but that's not apparently being offered.
Yeah, I'm definitely skeptical of this. I asked about that also, like why not just use the rail bed? But he's not. I guess that runs more in the center of the property, and then that part that heads north, I guess, goes onto that rail bed eventually. But anyway, all right. I just wanted everyone to see this and get a general idea. I could report back that they need to work on it.
I mean,
Okay.
they have to make some decisions. We can't make their decisions, you know?
No, but they wanted some general guidance of like what we thought were possible. If we're
I've
like,
just said I'm
we're not going to
clueless.
entertain it, then why go through the whole thing?
Right.
All right.
I need
So-
more information. I just, it's too hypothetical for me.
Fair enough. All right, that's it with the actual applications or such. So Emily, thank you very much for coming. You can go. We're just gonna do minutes and things like that for now.
Okay, thanks for having me. Take care.
Thank you. Drew, do you have anything for us?
I do not. Everything's been actually pretty quiet.
Okay. Someone had a question last week. Did we? And I emailed you about the. Somebody asked about that farm stand or whatever's happening on 199.
What they've done right now is applied for basically just the storage building, with the intent they're going to try a farm stand, a seasonal farm stand in the spring, and just a small operation and see how that goes. And then if they're kind of testing the water, and if that does become somewhat of a success, then they realize they need to come to you for a farm stand. I don't have the terminology in my head. There's 3 levels that they could go for. What is a farmer's? The smallest one just requires a permit, and that's what they're hoping to do in the spring. If that works out, they're going to then come to the board for a special use permit for the upper level.
Okay, so I don't remember who asked about that, but that's the answer. Thank you, Drew. I think that's it as far as for you tonight.
Okay.
Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you. Everybody have a great holiday.
You too now. Minutes. We have 2 minutes. One is the November meeting. And one is the special meeting we had. So first, for the November meeting, does anyone have any problems or changes they need to be made? If not, can I have a motion to accept the November minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Let it be shown that the November minutes passed unanimously. Now for the special meeting, November special meeting, I can't remember the date. Well, whatever. We only had one in November. Can I have a motion to accept those minutes?
I move to accept those minutes.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Let it be shown that the motion passed unanimously. Okay, the final thing that I had on my agenda is, of course, it's the end of the year. I talked with Dara. I let the people know whose terms are up. They're looking to do the reorg, I guess, before the first of the year this year. So let's make sure anyone that's looking to either not continue if their term is up, or if looking to resign. I know Jane, I guess that's the route you've decided to take.
Well, I mean, the decision wasn't so much up to me as opposed to, I would like to continue if I can without participating in the sexual harassment stuff, for the reasons I've said. Otherwise, if I can't do that, then this will be my last meeting, and I'd like to say goodbye and how much I've enjoyed being on the board.
Jane, your service to the community has been overwhelming and wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be very sad to see you go, Jane. You have a lot of knowledge and help us out, and very giving of your time. Yeah, I don't know the procedure for this. If we talked to Warren last month, and he says it is the regulation. You have to go through that training.
Right. Well,
You sure you wouldn't learn something valuable from that, Jane?
Yes. It's a matter of principle. So goodbye. Thanks.
Well, all right. Well, unless we have something happen before the first of the year. And then anyone else, if there's any for some reason need to resign or such, please let Dara know. Copy me on it. Anyone who's a alternate, please send a letter saying you wish to be reappointed. Alternates are only 1-year terms. Anyone whose term's up, whoever, let them know. And again, they're doing what? Sarah, when are you guys doing the reorg meeting? Like the 17th or something?
I have no idea.
Oh,
That's because I heard that there was going to be a reorg in December. So I don't know. Our meeting is next week. Our town board meeting is next week.
Okay. Yeah, she asked me to have it before the first. So I don't know, with COVID or something, you want to get it. It does make sense actually to do, because otherwise if you guys do it late in January, then technically like for January.
We usually do it the first week in January. We do the reorg. We hold a reorg meeting. That's how it's usually been done. We don't have anybody coming onto the board as a new board member.
Right.
So that may play into her plans to get it done ahead of time. I don't know.
Well, that's not quite accurate, is it?
What?
That we don't have anybody new. I mean, there have to be a replacement for Jane.
No. On the board.
The town board.
Town board.
The town board. It's so the town board can take whatever action, I suppose, on a reorg ahead of time.
So somebody on this board, the planning board, somebody else's term is up, because my term wouldn't have been up until next year.
Correct.
Yeah, I think I have to send a letter.
And Dick already sent his letter in, wanting to continue. So, and then of course the alternates need to re-up. All right.
And then of course, if Jane is not going to continue, then there is an opening on the planning board, and anybody who has interest in being considered for that should make that known to Daryl also.
Yes, if you know anyone who, I guess.
But if our alternates might want to continue as regular board members.
Right.
Just a thought.
Right. So, okay. If there's nothing else, does anyone have anything else? I have a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Sorry, T.
I'm sorry, who?
Second.
Do we have a second?
Yes.
That was Dick, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, All opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a good holidays.
Good
And
night. Happy
fun.
holidays.
Care now.
Sayonara.
Bye, Jane. Thank you. We'll see you around. Thank you
Right.
very much.
Thanks, Jane.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.